So, as most of you should know by now, Julius Malema was found guilty earlier today on 5 charges of effectively breaking the Firearms Act of South Africa. All of the 5 charges basically stem from him firing a rifle back in 2018 at an EFF rally. He had no authorization to fire the rally. The rally was in a public space, therefore, it is highly illegal. And the judge, after hearing the case, and it should be marked that the judge called out both Adrian Snyman, the bodyguard, as well as Julius Malema for being incredibly disrespectful towards the court, effectively making remarks such as, if it was a real gun and bullets, it must have been the Holy Spirit. That was Julius Malema who said it. And in another area where Julius Malema was asked how many shots he fired, he said, I can't count. I only graduated in woodwork. So effectively making light of the entire situation. But that's not why the judge found him guilty. The judge found him guilty because, well, he failed at any turn to prove that it wasn't him holding the gun. In fact, they didn't even allege that it wasn't him in the footage. They didn't even allege that he didn't fire the gun. They merely alleged that it was a toy gun and that it wasn't real, except the video footage shows that it was, in fact, real. The judge also, in the case, and I'm doing all of this as a preamble to show you what Julius Malema, of course, blamed ultimately for this entire case and why he was found guilty today, but we'll get to that video in a second. The judge actually went through and explained why, even without the video, Julius Malema would still have been found guilty on all of the same charges, because they tried to argue that the video wasn't real because it couldn't be authenticated. The problem with that is that they had expert witnesses and eyewitnesses who saw Julius Malema do it, and they found a casing at the grounds where the EFF rally was held from the gun that was fired. Now, Julius Malema will make all sorts of claims, and we'll get into all of that. But just take a listen to this.
Deputy President and all officials of the EFF, we want to thank all the leaders of the EFF who are here and from different provinces. Thank you, the ground forces of the EFF, for your support. We have been here for 7 years. We are almost at the end because today she passed a verdict finding us guilty, but she released...
Listen to the language there, finding us guilty. He is, if anything else, or at least if nothing else, he is incredibly skilled at feeding the cult of personality that is the EFF. It's not finding us guilty. No one else of the EFF was in any way, shape, or form charged with this crime. But of course, if you are the leader of a cult, it has to be us. Any attack on the leader of the cult must be us that is attacked. And so they, in terms of the EFF, were now found guilty. It's very emotionally charged language.
Accused number 2, which is highly appreciated, because we know that from the beginning, they've been looking for me. They were not...
So you'll hear him later in the video also claiming that the fact that they found Adrian Snyman not guilty puts his whole guilty verdict in question, because if one of the charges that Adrian Snyman was found not guilty for was handing the gun recklessly to Julius Malema, if he's not guilty, then where did Julius Malema get the gun? The only problem with that is that the state could not prove that it was Adrian Basson that handed Julius Malema the gun, because there was another security guard there, or bodyguard there, and it's apparently the other bodyguard's gun that was used, because the other bodyguard claimed that, his gun was in Gauteng. He doesn't know where the gun was. He could provide no evidence for where the gun was, except that the gun wasn't on him. That was his excuse for it. And since they didn't present the witness, there's no way to corroborate any of it. So effectively, Adrian Basson wasn't let go, or Adrian Snyman wasn't let go because he was innocent. It was just that they couldn't prove the case.
Looking for accused number 2. They were just playing games, and today they came out openly. As a revolutionary, going to prison or death is a badge of honor.
And you hear him here again playing the violent games, right? And this is very charged emotional language, saying to all of his revolutionary cult followers If you die, if you go to jail, that's a badge of honor. You should be proud of that. What is the message that he's sending here to all of his cult followers? Go die, go to jail, go commit crime, because that is what it's called to be a revolutionary.
We cannot be scared of prison. We cannot be scared to die for the revolution. So whatever they want to do, they must know we will never retreat from the ideas and the 7 cardinal pillars of the EFF. At the center of those is to expropriate land without compensation. So comrades, you must not be deterred. We live here highly determined. We are going to fight this up until the Constitutional Court. We are coming on the 23rd of January for sentencing, and after sentencing, we will immediately put an appeal so that we can go to the higher court, because we think a judgment is faulty. The strategy has always been, you must try to charge Malema with everything. One day, maybe we'll find a racist judge who will find him guilty, whether he's guilty or not. Because they said...
That's exactly the thing here. Julius Malema will not take responsibility for anything. And that's really the problem in South Africa. None of our political leaders are ever held to account by their own followers. He just said it there. They were always hoping for a racist white judge, and now they found the racist white judge, whether he's guilty or not. Ladies and gentlemen, I will just quickly point you to the actual laws that he broke, right? It is an offense to just discharge a firearm, including antique firearms or air guns, in any built-up area or public space, place without a good reason. Discharging a firearm negligently, recklessly, or in a manner likely to cause injury, damage, or risk, otherwise shooting it in the air, that is again breaking the law. It is illegal to discharge or handle a firearm while under the influence of intoxicating or narcotic substances. Pointing a firearm at another person without good reason or is prohibited. He broke the first two outright. This has nothing to do with race. It's not about him being black or the judge being white. He failed to prove in any meaningful way that he did not fire the gun. And that's literally, as the judge said, the only relevant point in this entire case. Did you or did you not fire the gun? He himself admitted that he fired the gun. He then tried to say it's a toy gun. The problem is we have video footage of the gun. We have police officers saying that it wasn't a gun, that they heard gunshots. We have eyewitnesses that say that they heard gunshots. The case was fairly well put together by the prosecution, and he was found guilty. It has nothing to do with race, but of course, they always have to blame race. Now, what happens here? If Julius Malema is found guilty, he can spend a long time in jail. Well, not if. He is found guilty. But on the 23rd of January, I said earlier that it was the 26th. I meant the 23rd, excuse me. But on the 23rd of January, when he goes for sentencing, if he is found, if the judge wants to, she can throw the kitchen sink at him and he can go to jail for 15 plus years, because each of the charges brought against Malema, and the exact charges here is the unlawful possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of ammunition, discharging a firearm in a public area, reckless endangerment of persons or property, failing to take reasonable precautions to avoid danger. These are the 5 charges brought against Malema. He was found guilty on all of them, and each of these carry 5 to 15 year maximum sentence. Minimum 5, maximum 15, but there's no mandatory minimum sentencing on any of these. So the judge can do all of them consecutively. In other words, he gets 15 years or 10 years or 5 years on all charges combined. Or if the judge really wanted to, she could give them 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20, and make it 50 years in jail, right? I don't think that's what will happen. I think, personally, he's not even going to go to jail, because they are going to appeal, and the appeals court are probably going to come on the side of Julius Malema to some extent.
Well, they said accused number 2 gave me the firearm. Now they are releasing him, which means he didn't give me the firearm. Why are you not releasing me? When you release a person you allege gave me the firearm. By releasing accused number 2, the whole case should have collapsed. But the racist was looking for me, and that's why they could not collapse the case for racist reason, to appease the AfriForum, to appease the Oval Office of Donald Trump, to appease all the white supremacists of South Africa who want to undermine the dignity and the struggle of black people.
It goes on like this basically the whole time. He blames race, he blames white people, he has this incredibly violent, emotionally charged language. And all this does, remember, he started this by saying to his revolutionary cult followers, you should not be afraid to die. You should not be afraid to go to jail. In other words, commit crimes in the name of revolution. He then goes on to say that it's the white racists that is to blame for me being in prison. Any half-decent, smart person will put together, hey, he's telling me to go take revenge on the white racists that is putting my commander-in-chief in jail. Julius Malema will take responsibility for nothing. It's such a black politician thing here in South Africa. Every single time they get into trouble, every single time they break the law, and someone starts asking questions, it's immediately, oh, white racists. You're just a bunch of racists. The fact of the matter is that if I'm this judge, I am throwing the kitchen sink at this guy, and hopefully the appeals court holds up the judgment and actually sends this man to jail. Because if Julius Malema goes to jail, the EFF collapses. It's as simple as that. He is a cult leader. He has a cult following, and cults tend to die the second their cult leader is out of the picture. And that's the full story, ladies and gentlemen. As always, like if you liked, dislike if you didn't. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you think of all of this. Do you think he's going to go to jail? What do you think the appeals court is going to do? As always, a massive shout out and thank you to all of the patrons as well as the YouTube channel members for your continued support. To become a YouTube member, just hit the join button right below this video or the link in the description down below. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I shall see all of you in the next one. Peace.